All right, we have 9 folks, 10 folks in the audience. We have 10 folks on stream, looks like. So, right, everybody, it's the moment you've been waiting for. It is our second AMA. Last time we had the Saucy Pepper herself on stage, and tonight we have the Lord of the Crossroads, Croatoan. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Um, Hello, I'm Croatoan.
All
I
right.
don't know what else you want me to say.
Well, see, I
Good to see
said,
you all.
see, here's the thing is that everybody's name is different. So I said it different, you say it different. So, we're just, that's always good. So, uh,
Yeah.
I'm going to be asking Croat the Goat, as Shlee likes to call you, some questions. What we're going to do is I'm going to ask a set prepared list of questions that we've gone over. I'm going to add some commentary. Then we're going to switch it over to Shlee. Shlee's going to gather some comments or questions from Twitch and from chat for folks that have want to ask questions to our guest today, and hopefully we'll get those answers for you. The format is going to be an hour, but depending on questions and interests and everything like that, we'll either maybe we'll shorten it or we might lengthen it, depending also on Croat's time. So, with that said, that's our format for tonight. And let's get into our questions. So first question: how long have you been a player? When did you start playing uh, in our sandbox?
Um, Officially, it would have been the end of '98, so like the fall, winter of '98, right around there. I am a one of the few remaining Moosehead converts from the early days of DSL.
Yeah,
For those of you
I
who
heard
don't
that's where
know,
most folks came from.
yeah, I was a late convert. A lot of people came over initially, but I came over like a year or two later. Um, but yeah, it was about the end of '98, right around then. So, been a while.
Yeah, I was looking up like D&D or Dragonlance related muds, and DSL came up, and yeah, so I started playing. I think 97, um, 98. Most of my college years were spent here. Now, how long have you been up in Imland? And like you can also say like me, if you've taken a break or whatever. But like let's say like when did you first uh get risen up, and did you take any breaks? Did you come back recently or?
Yeah. It was originally, I think it was 2000. You know what? I have my creation date.
Just type
October
4.
14th, 1705.
What year was that?
So yeah, 2010.
All right.
So, yeah, it was 2010. Was when I first got made an M. I was an M for about 3 years around that time, and then took a significant break, and then I've been back for a year or two. I don't know if I've quite hit 2 years yet, but it's been about that, a year or two since then. So,
All right. So I always wonder how people like M's choose their names. Like I remember like I think Griffin back in the day. I think there was uh there were a couple other M's, and I was like, how do people come up with their names? So how did you choose your name? What was your inspiration for your M name?
um, I think it's for those of you who know the reference, it's pretty obvious. It's Uh, okay, Croatoan is basically could potentially come from two different places. It probably come from many different places, but the one historical aspect is Croatoan was there was the lost colony of Roanoke. Um, that was one of the first colonies in America. The they sailed back to England to get supplies. They couldn't come back for like 2 or 3 years. By the time they came back, the colony was completely gone. Everything was gone, and the only thing remaining was the word Croatoan carved into a tree. Um, so then that's the kind of the myth, the real life myth behind the name Croatoan. But in the show Supernatural, which I'm a huge fan of the show Supernatural, um, the lore behind Croatoan was that it was a demon virus that was intended to basically turn people into very violent zombie like creatures. And so there's an episode in Supernatural. They kind of reference it in a couple episodes, but one particular centers around the Croatoan virus entirely. So, and that's also where the Crowley picture that's my Discord avatar is also from Supernatural. So, and the King of the Crossroads reference is technically from Supernatural.
Hmm.
My M office is a crossroads type thing. So that's
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much it.
yeah. I know that like every
And
M
then,
has like their own office and stuff, so that's cool. So you kind of based it on that.
yep, yeah. It's my M office has it's a crossroads with a building on it, and it's got on the porch of the building is a Colt revolver. People who know Supernatural don't know what that is. There's a knife. The demon killing knife is in the background of my office, and it's so yeah, kind of my theme. So
Nice.
technically, I kind of regret the name Croatoan because what I would rather have it be is Crowley, but I can live with Croatoan. It's what I picked, and it was a great name, and it was suggested to me by my wife, so she helped me. She did help me
All
pick the
right.
name out. So
So, everybody knows you for competition. So uh, when did you, when did you start being a comp M? So we went over like when you became an M, but when did you start doing the competition aid events?
um, that when I first became an M in my junior days, I was originally going to shoot for the storyline department because I am a huge role player. But at that time, the person who kind of took me under her wing was Tydra or Teresa, if any of you remember her. Um,
We have a
when
stadium.
she passed away, she was competition. When she passed, what? Yeah, when she passed away, I decided to kind of honor her to go into competition and do that. So that was, and I do enjoy AGL. I love running it. So
So you feel like you're keeping a
that was
legacy kind of alive in that sense?
a bit, yeah. It was just kind of an honor her. She was always a good friend and whatnot. So it just felt kind of, I don't know, weird and an honor in my own way. So if anybody who is I sees me in the game, you will see that I am married to Tydra. So Croatoan is.
Oh,
She did
gotcha.
that to me back in the day. So
Yes,
she
I gotcha.
she also
Um,
the zombie. My description is an ASCII art zombie with colors. That
mhm.
was also created by Tydra. So
Oh, that's nice. Make sure you back that up just in
oh
case.
yeah.
All right. So, what do you enjoy the most about running competition events? Like, is there something that So we talked about like where the inspiration was to continue to do comp events, but what keeps you going? What do you enjoy most about that? part of being an imp?
Um, ooh, that's a tough one. That's a good one. Um, there's actually a lot about it that I enjoy. The competition itself is just, at its base core is just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see what kind of combos people come up with. Um, there's uh, I can think of a dozen things that I love seeing from one night to the next. Like, one of my favorite things that I enjoy doing, and I love listening to the stream while they're happening, where I will put up a match and put up the betting, and they start talking about who to bet and things like that, and everybody's like, this is impossible to bet for, and I live for those moments where the match is so interesting and so could go either way, and uh, it really provides. I don't know. It's just exciting. It's a lot of fun. Um, I have a little bit of a sick pleasure out of some upsets, like when you get like a major upset and somebody completely beats you up odds. Everybody knows that I can see what everybody's betting, and I don't necessarily always announce it, and I have my reasons for that. But um, the I get a little tickle of joy when I see people bet a whole bunch and somebody just upsets. It doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, they just make for some of the best matches and whatnot. But and a lot of it, like outside of AGL, I really like working with the rest of the players with designing and developing their own little tournaments and whatnot. I work with Bloodlust to do kind of a King of the Hill theory style event for them. And we still kind of got that in the pocket as something we could do in the future, and just things like that. So it's just a lot of fun.
Would
I enjoy
do
it.
you do you find yourself like do you like to when you're not being an imp, do you find that like you look at for yourself you want to try different combinations? Do you kind of like use any of I know that there's some tools out there for builders to kind of like theory craft new ideas. Like, do you ever look at that for yourself?
Um, Not really. In a weird way, when I go to build my characters, for me, it's more like I approach things from a role play aspect. I'm a contradiction of competition imps because many competition imps throughout history have been more on the PK side of things, where I definitely enjoy the PK side of things, but I'm here for the RP first. I'm just happy the PK is also a part of it. So when I make my characters, the RP part of it is more important to me than anything else. But that doesn't mean I don't try and come up. I've got some fun characters that I played with, but I don't necessarily use. There's no tools I have in particular that I can use in any way that would let me try things out easier than
Sure.
it would be for any other player. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, just again, like I know that there's a lot of people. I mean, I was just talking to Albert about theory crafting a build, and I like to theory craft. Like if I'm thinking about, well, sometimes I take NGL characters seriously, and sometimes I don't. In terms of the ones that I build, like my AGL character that I've run my 7 matches with, um, is really just for fun. And I know that there have been others, so I just wanted to ask, but I am gonna just it's been 15 minutes, so I do want to just remind folks, make sure you're thinking about your questions, making sure that you can put them in Discord chat here in the events channel. You can put them out in Schlee's Twitch channel, but if you've got questions later on, but we're gonna just wanted to do that plug, but we'll keep rolling on. So we all know that it's difficult to run these types of things because you have to think about builds. What's a good what's a good match. You have to think about um, you have to think about what's in your schedule in terms of actually scheduling the matches and who's going to pray up. So, can you tell us a little bit more, a little bit about like the difficulties or learning experiences now that you've had some years of competition under your belt? Like, if you were going to say to a new competition, here's what I learned. Um, don't listen to Mike, by the way, in chat. We will no, I'm just kidding. But what are the things that you have learned over the years? What were some of the difficulties that or challenges that you've kind of seen?
Mm, my earliest days of doing competition was long enough ago that
Hello.
I'm trying to think uh, of any particular struggles I had, which I can't really think of any of them. A lot of it, I try to, the scheduling part of things is I try to make sure that it's consistent. It is something where the players shouldn't have to really ask when AGL is outside of maybe, the date specifically for this month, from one month and then that changes. But I always follow the same pattern of, Wednesday, Saturday, Friday. Wednesday's always at 7, Saturday's always at 3:30, Friday's always, just the consistency. Um, which I think is back in the early days, back when I was my first time doing it, we had a fairly decent, not that we don't have a decent sized player base now, but we had a lot more active player base. We were all a little bit younger. That was like 10 plus years ago, and a lot of our AGLs were spur of the moment, like AGL tonight at 7, AGL in an hour. Like it was a lot of real quick, no real planning for it. We did some scheduled events here and there for it, but not in the same way where I do it now, where it's basically a set schedule. Um, but at the
That's an
same,
interesting point. Let me pause there for the
Mhm.
folks that are in chat and folks on Twitch. um who've been playing, what do you like better? Do you feel like the new schedule, this is for our listeners, do you feel like the scheduled consistent format is better than the ad hoc format? And I know because I remember maybe like 7 years ago, Kay was trying to do AGL in the afternoon, and it never really like took off. She was trying to do some like lunchtime AGL, but it's funny because I didn't really pay attention to the scheduling. I think what I've heard is that people are saying like when's AGL, and we put the calendar up and everything like that. So it's to me it's mind-boggling that we actually had it where it wasn't scheduled, where it's just like, so you're saying like maybe before like Shrek would just be like AGL tonight, or is that how it used to be? Like
well,
10 so years ago?
well, I actually can't say for Shrek. Oddly enough, Shrek's time as a comp M, I actually was during my break. Um,
Mhm.
I know, I know in the early days, I think there was a fairly consistent schedule with things. And I think it has waxed and waned based upon who was the comp M at the time. I know my early days of comp M was a lot more ad hoc, like you said, just when we could, we ran it. But still, we still had scheduled things like belt matches and stuff like that. So um, I really just, oh, and I think that even going beyond brewers, you got people who gather whale oils. There's other things out there that people do to get prepared. So I do think we get better quality matches when we have better prepared fighters. But at the same time, something could be said to the strategery, uh, the mindset that also goes into like the sudden fights. And I've considered pulling out some random AGL matches here and there, but it just kind of depends on my schedule, and a lot of it comes down to I have only so many fighters
Mhm.
in any given time frame, and the more AGL I do with the more fights I do, the more likely that I'm going to run out of fresh combos, fresh matches, people who haven't fought before. So it's a balance between running it.
No, I think
Go
keep
ahead.
going. I got.
I, I just yeah, like running it, so I can just keep things fresh while also keeping things active. Like find a level of activity that just hits that sweet spot.
I think that's a good point that people might not understand is that like if you run it too much, then it's like too much of a good thing, and that there needs to be a balance between you want fresh fights, but you also want to give people time to rest and kind of like keep it interesting. So if we I think that that doesn't necessarily come into everybody's like awareness, because I know, and I'm going to get into a couple other questions that have to deal with like the popularity of competition, but I do think that this is a really good kernel to kind of sit on, and that too much of a good thing is actually bad. Like we don't want to burn out fighters. We want to keep things, so there is, to your point, a sweet spot between what is a sweet spot between what is good activity, and then what is potentially burnout or stale content,
Hmm.
for lack of a better word. I think that's really interesting to hear that that's something that is in your mind that you're thinking about.
I will say that on top of that, that the next month and for the next couple of months, we are going to be pushing that to its limit. Um, in a way, with the added seasonal events, the nice thing, the seasonal events are going to be separate than normal AGL matches in regards to uh, tracking the rankings. Seasonal matches don't count towards your normal AGL uh, ranking, and vice versa. But at the same time, I'm going to be aiming. I know a lot of people were talking about what was the Wednesday AGL this month when I had 6 matches. That is going to be the target for the seasonal stuff when we're doing seasonal stuff. So I'm going to hopefully do 3 seasonal matches. That'll be our lead up, and then we'll do 3 standard AGL matches. But this first season, being our first season, everything's experimental. So a lot of it's just seeing what the game is capable of pulling off as a player base and me as a comp him. So
So that is a good segue into what are you excited about? So, so it sounds like you're really excited about the seasonal stuff. Is there anything else that is coming up that you are excited to run? Are there things that you're excited to try, like new tricks? Is there anything coming up that we don't know about that you want to break today, or is it just really, what's what do you find that you're excited about working with the base on?
well, obviously the seasonal stuff, and the one caveat I want to put out real quick with the seasonal stuff is that the one thing that I want everybody to keep in mind with seasonal, is that this isn't my idea. This is Xenophon and Whiskey's idea. I just have kind of adopted it from them. I'm the foster parent of this child, and I am helping take their dream and vision and creating it and turning it into a reality for, with them and for them and whatnot. So I'm really excited. Seasonal is like my biggest thing right now. Um, there is, I know I teased in my announcement of the seasonal AGL that there is going to be further rewards down the road as we continue with the seasonal stuff. I'm really looking forward to announcing those. I'm not going to really say anything more than that, but I think people should be really excited for that. Just wait. Um, I do have something that I've been cooking on for about a year and a half now, and I cannot refine it. And when I get it refined, I think it's going to be a fantastic thing where I don't really have a great name for it right now, but I am calling it a 2v2 random roulette tournament type thing. I've also thrown the word gauntlet in there and whatnot. And the concept of this tournament is it's a random 2v2 tournament, but instead of it being a bracketed tournament, it is a point based tournament where wins and losses and how you perform will provide certain amount of points. And then each round, the fighters with the top points will be the ones that move on to the next round. But in each round, each fight, every single fight will be uh, the teams will be randomized. So round one may consist of, so if we have 10 fighters, um, we may shuffle them, 10 fighters, that would make a 2v2, blah, blah, blah. What's that? We got
10
5 teams.
fighters, a 2v2. That would
We'll
be
do 12 just make it. So,
10 fights of 2v2. So like 40
yeah.
people. That,
Something. Well, no. Um, let me back up a little bit.
oh no,
Let's do
yeah,
12
not 10
fighters just because it's easier.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right. I
12 fighters.
forgot the
Yeah,
bracket.
12 fighters would be 3 matches. So round one might be 9 matches. So that will mean that each fighter will fight 3 times, and each time they fight, they'll have a different partner. And then at the end of round one, and then this would not be a one night event. This would be a ongoing series type thing because it will require many fights. Um, but so essentially, it's randomized partners every round, point based system based upon who gets to move on to the next round, and then the champion is the champion fight. This is where, like I said, it's still I'm still cooking on it. I haven't quite roughed out all the edges. But I know a lot of people have really enjoyed the random 2v2s that we've been having recently that Scorn's been running.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of been thinking of like, how can we do that, but make it different? Those 2v2 tournaments, I love them. But like, generally, once you see the brackets, like you can just go through and go, that's a power team, that's a power team, that's a power team. Those are the people in the finals. Like
Well,
where if the teams
yeah.
are randomized, it's not quite so guaranteed, so
I think what I've seen, and mostly in terms of, this is really just more of a comment on leverage versus not leverage, is that in a leverage format, um you would see like more of your limited races come into play, um with your normal stats, but in a regular match, you know with some carded out folks, you get a little bit more variety. um so I think like my comment is more like, we've got all these different, uh, we've the two tournaments,
you're
we've got a
cutting
lot
out
of
there a little bit.
different, I think. Oh, I'm cutting out.
Just a little bit
Sorry.
there. Just
Yeah.
back up just a little bit and yeah.
Well, I'm in a we're in a bit of a blizzard here in the Northeast, so
Yeah.
uh the
Under
the
3 feet of
network
snow.
is not. Yeah. So I think over the years, what we've seen is we've had AGL, we'd have ACFL. Um, AGL has really been like uh, the staple, and then we have these new 2v2s, and it's interesting just to see like as the player base has shifted from, we all know our high was like 300, and now we're down to, I would say we're at a third of that. um I don't think, even if we're saying like the max is 70, I don't think it's like the same 70 people. I think people coming in and out, so I think we're looking at around 100. um and how we kind of shift competition to not be stale. So I think these 2v2s are a way to break away from just kind of the staleness of AGL. I don't want to say, like, again, not saying it's stale, but like I think there's still a lot of people who like competition, but I think we
Mhm.
do need another sort of format to kind of keep it going. Your
Yeah.
thoughts on
Variety.
that?
Variety is the spice of life.
That's
I
true.
definitely agree. I definitely agree. My approach for the first half of this year has been to I know everybody really wants ACFL, and there's kind of reasons why we don't get into ACFL too terribly much, but I really love ACFL too. But like you said, AGL is kind of the staple, and so it is kind of my focus at the start of this year to figure out how to polish AGL and just make it better and potentially even make it less stale, which is why the lower belts have been changed the way they have been. We've reduced the penalty on the champions, the people who lose on champions. I'm really trying to do everything I can to. I want to see challenges. I really want to see challenges. I want to see people who are contenders willing to fight, willing to take the L, even if they know they're going to do it. Like even if they know they're going into a fight, they're more than likely not going to win. Um, I want people to be wanting to do that challenge because you never know, they might win. Um, Most of my AGL fights that I won, I should have lost. Straight up should have lost. So it can happen. It can happen. And I understand Picknum's a monster out there, but you know, we've restricted the withstand deaths just a little bit to kind of help give people a little bit more edge. Um, and to defang the warlock, the brewing monsters, the really well prepared ones, because man, they can be vicious these days. Um, but I definitely agree with a lot of my focus is trying to figure out how to provide more variety, like Shlee said. Variety is the spice of life. I definitely agree with that. Um, but there's also a limit in how much time and energy I have. Like there's some other things in the game I would like to focus on outside of AGL as well as an M. I really want to, start working on some role play stuff and help in that area as well. So there's that I have to factor into it. But I definitely want to, and on top of that, I want players to know that um, they are capable of designing, running their own tournaments and other PvP things, and I will support them in whatever they want. I enjoy players. I prefer when it's a player run tournament that it's their plan and they kind of do the announcing and things like that. But it just, it depends on what they're aiming for and things like that. But that can also help break up the monotony of AGL is also player run ideas and things like that. So
All right,
so
I
I
think
encourage players to continue with that.
there's Shlee, has there been we'll take a pause from my questions. Shlee, has there been any, because we're at 30 minutes, has there been any questions in your chat or anything that we want to kind of point out?
Um, so Goblin Novelist in the Twitch chat did ask, is there any chance that we can see this 2v2 style make an almost BB-like appearance, where two people grouped can challenge another group of two and get sent to one of the arenas where people could bet on it as like a spur of the moment thing? Or on top of that, is variety in terms of BBs something that we could be looking into?
Um, BBs are a code thing. It's not really anything I can, unless you're talking about like not the automated BBs. If you're talking
Yeah.
about like the non-automated BB, okay. So yeah. Um, I mean that's definitely a potential. Let me kind of reread this question real quick again.
As we pause there, I know that there's
Also,
I'm not
Snakeman
seeing.
Salon did say Scorn wants title fights to have stakes. It used to be permadeath, so temp penalties are definitely better. Which I
I
agree
think that
with.
was in response to
Yeah.
Wicked's uh, comment. Just a reminder for you guys in Discord, there is a chat for this channel, so if you want any questions, feel free to put them here, and we will also ask them. All right. Any thoughts, Croathan, on Goblin's question?
Uh, um, I can't say I 100% understand exactly what they're asking for, but I can say like there's BB style events can also be an option. I admit it's not that I forget about those types of things, is that I just don't think about them. I think a little bit bigger than most BBs, but BBs are something I can definitely put on the different styles of BBs. I really wouldn't mind doing more old school Wheel of Death type stuff. Those are always fun. So so yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely
Kay
in the realm of
just
possibility.
redid the circle, right? Like just redid the wheel or something like that.
Yeah, she did one.
There's been,
It
I
wasn't
think,
all
one
that
or
long ago. I don't
two
remember what it
not
was.
that long ago. Yeah.
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 So.
So the interesting thing, so I'll self plug. So I sent Scorn a idea, and I think maybe I pinged you a little bit on it, but
Hmm.
what I basically saw that in talking with Jake and with talking with other folks that like that 2v2 tournament style has been very popular.
Oh.
And I was like, well, what if we looked at that as sort of like a seasonal league, right? Like, so it's scheduled and, you have your random partners each, the night that you play, and then you go through, and the points are based on, and everybody individually gets points based on their wins. And then you have like you have your end of the season uh highest ranked players, but it's based on how you did throughout the season. And Scorn seemed to be favorable to it, but he had some thoughts about like, well, he'd like to see like XYZ, but he definitely, I think, you know he definitely saw that there was a lot of interest in 2v2s. So from the feedback I got from Scorn, feedback I'm getting from you, I think if we look at Goblin's comments, 2v2 I think might be the sweet spot for like the next kind of event. Um, Especially if you're thinking about it, as a point system based seasonal thing
Hmm.
too. So,
It feels a lot more
you know,
approachable
it,
than, say, something like ACFL where you have to have, what, 12 players at a time ready and able to go and all that kind of stuff versus having, a couple of sets of twos to do something league wise in that sense.
mhm. And I think
Yeah.
that's the key. As we get older, we want something that's a little bit more approachable. Go ahead, Crow.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, yeah, the one of the biggest hurdles with ACFL is uh, very few people need to be available for a very long period of time at very specific days, and we've hit an age where it's hard to commit to that kind of thing. So, something that could be a little bit more, the challenging thing, and like the seasonal, like seasonal AGL, is kind of, since we're crowning the champion based upon a tournament at the end, um, how much somebody participates in the season only really matters in the sense of where their seed is in the final tournament. Um, that does not mean that people can't, like I'm gonna accept everybody. If you fought once in the season and you want to fight in the tournament, I'm cool with it. Like it really like that's how we're doing it this season. That may not necessarily be how we do it in season 2, but that's how we're doing it in season 1. Nothing's ever so set in stone that we're not willing to try and change it and improve it and kind of thing. So um,
So
with any, go ahead, Larry.
keep going. I'll
Oh,
interject in a sec.
I was just gonna say like with um the one thing like with my point system 2v2, and it sounds like your idea and my idea are like very 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 almost identical.
Cousins.
With cousins, very much so. Yeah. Um, uh, you would have to think about for a long term season like that, like how to, since it's a the seasonal winner is determined by points. How do you make it so people get an equal amount of opportunity to win the points? You know what I mean? So if you do it so it's more a la AGL style, where whoever prays up gets to fight that night, you really have to keep track of the number of fights, and it has to be like, we've only got 10 fights per the entire season. You can only have only X number of fights. Once you hit that limit, you're done, and we have to wait for somebody else. That kind of a part, I don't know. That's been one of my hurdles with one of my thing is how do we get, for something that's long term that requires so many people, do we do hope for adequate participation, or do we aim for set participation where people know that you have to fight XYZ nights kind of thing? So that's one of the big hurdles I've been having with the 2v2 thing. So
I think so. Jake would be upset if I didn't advocate for this, but he's been really of a proponent for ACFL combines, and so in that respect, whoever shows up, you random your captains, and they pick their stuff and they go. And so, do you feel like if you said once a month or once every month that there would be ACFL combines, would that be something that you feel like is available, or do you feel like there's roadblocks for that? Like, what do you think of that idea? Because I know that he's very interested in that, and I know that there's a base for it. I figured I would advocate since I don't see them in chat.
I will first say that if I could do an ACFL combine every month, I definitely would. Um, there are reasons why we've not done a whole lot of ACFL since ACFL has stopped. I couldn't. This is not an official statement by any means, but I am going to be pushing for more ACFL combines going forward. I see, you know, I think, maybe not once a month, maybe every couple of months, something like that. But I definitely am going to fight for more ACFL combines. So
All right. If Jake listens to the broadcast, if he's listening, or if he listens, Jake, I did my part. So we're about 15 minutes before I want to respect everybody's time. So, so one of the things I think that we've seen, and I just kind of want to talk about is everybody I think appreciates what you've been doing, and so I think for the player base, we want to. I would like to, and I'm sure Ashley will also second this, that like we really appreciate the work that you've been doing on the competition side, because I think that it is sort of that oxygen that kind of keeps things going. And I spoke to, I spoke to some people, and so I had this as one of the last questions about why, why we think competition is so popular. And someone said to me, it's like, well, it's the thing that keeps happening every week, right? Like it's that you can tune in. And I had another person say to me, when I asked them, I was like, well, why, again, why is it so popular? And they said to me, that's like, well, you're just a spectator. You can kind of like, you can be on your phone, you can place your bets, it's, you don't necessarily need to participate, but you can kind of lurk there and still kind of, it feeds that kind of need. So I think that, what I've been hearing from multiple people is that competition is kind of keeping things going. It is it's good for many different types of participation, whether it's low to high. You get to choose. You can be a spectator or not. So I think we all thank you for you and the M staff for keeping this alive. Also, do give feedback to Score and say those 2v2s are going. Have you any thoughts on competition and its popularity and why people keep, asking for more, asking for different? What do you think it is about the competition on DSL that makes it so popular?
Well, first of all, I thank you for you know, I appreciate everybody's appreciation. So like it is definitely one of the things that helps keep me moving forward and whatnot. Um, as for the popularity of it, I am of two minds of it. On one hand, like you said, it is something that even those who aren't necessarily well versed and or even really into the PK side of things or the mechanical side of things, there's still some enjoyment to be had for it. It is a fun for all kind of thing. So it really does cater to a wide audience, but at the same time, I will also say that as much as I really do enjoy doing the competition and having the competition stuff, things like AGL, like how do I word this exactly? I've been talking to my wife a lot about it recently, and AGL is okay. This is in no
It's all right.
ways
Take your
a
time.
slight towards competition, but I kind of view AGL as shorts when it comes to digesting things in the modern world. It's short form content. It's fast. It's easy. The scheduling of it definitely helps with it and whatnot. But it's very quick dopamine, and scheduled dopamine. Um, and so I think it definitely does, like you said, breathe oxygen into the game. But I also feel like that oxygen is fleeting, um, for many people. For those who participate in AGL on a regular basis, who actually fight and things like that, it can be the lifeblood of why they keep logging in every day. But for a lot of other people, it is at best an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours worth of entertainment. On a really really busy day. Um, so that is why, like I don't know how many people kind of remember that me talking about the Del Nietzsche Chronicle and whatnot. Like I'm trying to infuse more role play into the competition type stuff. If we can get some in character rivalries that carry on outside of the arena, that makes it so AGL is just not a thing that happens at Wednesday at 7. 730. You know, it is something that is a narrative that helps provide role play on a day-to-day basis. So that is something that I would ask of the players to think about as we go forward with competitions and AGL type stuff and whatnot. And I know role play isn't necessarily um, the thing that everybody looks for. But I think I've seen just about everybody, even those who say I don't like role play and whatnot. When they role play, I mean, it can be good, and it can make something that is either just a bunch of number crunching be something that is a story behind the numbers. There's fun behind it. You know, one of my favorite video games of all time has been Blood Bowl. I love Blood Bowl, but I also love the lore and the story around Blood Bowl. So that's what I'm kind of hoping to infuse in AGL to kind of just make it be more than just a something that happened in a short time. So, but I think I definitely agree that it is a core element of the game. As much as role play as the game is role play enforced, you know, it is AGL is a cornerstone. It's one of those things that's quintessentially DSL. So I think it's an important aspect of the game.
So I see that Shlee is in a boss fight. So I will look and see. Shlee, do we got any questions in the Twitch chat or any other chat? Do we want to take a look at?
So Goblin's thing, he was
Holding.
saying, group 2, challenge another group of 2 with the command. So basically kind of like an auto BB. People have time to bet. I think that would take quite a lot. But 2v2, I think, like you said, is kind of the sweet spot at the moment. For us players that want to run tourneys as well, what kind of support could we ask for from up above? Or do we need to figure it out ourselves, which is fine, just want to ask for shenanigans planning?
If you have any questions, pray up and answer them. I for me, it's fun to see something that is created by the players, ran by the players for the players. I think that is something that is uniquely different than something where I'm the one running it or overseeing it and things like that. But like the players themselves can't run the arenas. Like it requires me to a point. So, I love it when people come to me with ideas. The more fleshed out the idea, the better. I have a lot on my plate to begin with, so having people kind of come to me and being like, "Hey, I want to run a tournament for my kingdom. I want to do it on Tuesday," and then that's all they give me. That's a little rough for me to work with sometimes. What kind of tournament do you want? Just have an idea of what you're aiming for, and I'm more than happy to help you craft it and guide you through the process of what can and can't be done, or give warnings about if you've got a crazy idea or a fun idea or something like that, and there is something that I can see that is a red flag, something that you should probably maybe avoid or could modify. I'm more than happy. Like it is. I like to consider it a collaborative effort where it is me helping the players create something for them for themselves. You know. Hopefully that answers it.
All right. I have to do this. If you could go anywhere in the solar system for a picnic, ignore the space stuff that kills you. Where do you go and why? I hope I asked that correctly, Mike.
So our
ask
solar system, so it's got to remain in our solar system. I would go to the edge of the Kuiper Belt. I want to sit on the edge of the universe and have a picnic. of our solar system, the edge of our solar system, and have a picnic. So, no, maybe that's not the Kuiper Belt. What is that?
Isn't the Kuiper Belt the one? No,
It's
that's
okay.
right.
Is it okay? Something like that. The Oort cloud. Yeah, kind of out towards the Oort cloud.
Well, because one of them is in the middle of our
All right.
solar system and the other one's on the end.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know there's an asteroid field at the edge of our solar
Yes.
system, which is where the non-planet Pluto is.
Fucking
I'll throw that battle down.
poor Pluto.
So we're just about at time. Shlee has thank you, Shlee, for getting the questions out there from your viewers.
There hasn't been a lot. I think you
And
guys
I
covered a lot of
figure
the.
before we
Sorry, go ahead.
the topics.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. But I before we do our sign off. Do you have anything, Pro, that you want to anything that you want to give the listeners before we end tonight's AMA?
Man, I can go super cheesy with this.
Go
You
super
know,
cheesy. Come on,
I
bring
guess
the
I guess
cheese.
I'm going like full nasty smelly cheese here. I would say one of the things that I would like to the one of the biggest messages I would like to give out to the players is to remember when you're playing the game that you're interacting with another character who also has a player behind it. So remember the separation between the game and not the game. And remember that we are here to role play. It is an RP enforced mud. That is one of the as much as competition is such a beautiful thing about DSL, it is beautiful also because we have the role play. So I would like to encourage the players to do what they can to bring their flavor of role play, to bring role play to the game, and help add more layers of the game. If you're not a big role player, but you see a little role play thing going on, maybe join it a little bit. If you're not really a big PKer, but you see a little PK thing, the more we are willing to participate ourselves with things that may not be our cup of tea, but maybe somebody else's, the more somebody else may do that for us. So we really need to make sure that we are one community and not a collection of groups in the game. And I think this Discord does a fantastic job of showing people and making people realize that we are a single community of people who have been together for some of us over 20 years. Like my daughter is almost 20 years old, and yet I've known most of you, some of you, longer than her, so
Don't tell.
we just
No.
need to keep that in mind. And
No.
what? No, yeah, she's almost 20. She turned
No.
20 this year.
No. I
So,
remember when she was a little nugget with everybody's freaking con badges on her.
right? When I had to go around and give
Oh my
everybody's badges back because she stole them all,
She
the
is
little
such a tiny
Kinder.
little nugget.
Yeah, she's still tiny. She hasn't gotten that much bigger, but she's older. So that is
Well,
my final
I
message.
appreciate
Be excellent to each other.
be excellent. So I appreciate you coming on here. I know that we are a special group of people, and sometimes getting on voice chat is difficult, especially if for people who are not used to putting themselves out there. You came on and put yourself out there, and I appreciate it. I want to say thank you to my co-host Shlee McGee. Please watch her channel when she is streaming. Please support our streamer family, including Albert. So thank you so much, Lee. Thank you to the audience members who were here. Thank you to the stream viewers who were there to support Lee. Thank you so much, everyone. And I don't have a sign off, but I think It's been a pleasure to talk to you all today, and hopefully we can do it again sometime. So, see you in Discord. See you in the game. Have a good night.
Get loved,
Yep.
nerds.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
See you guys.